Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Kubeir, just in case you didn't know that. And if you're here for the first time, then let me put this on. Yes, welcome back to the channel. And it is so nice to see so many of you already joining us. This is great. This shows you're quite interested in knowing what's happening with the Canadian immigration, the news, the updates, and whatnot. As usual, we do this every Saturday at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. And what I bring to you is the weekly roundup of what's been happening in the field of Canadian immigration. Today has particularly some interesting information update, which we will talk about as we go through today's episode. And while we are doing that, obviously, we will also talk about other things that have been happening. In the end, once we are done with the roundup, then we will go for the question and answers. So that is today's agenda. Let's get cracking, yeah? Okay, let me get rid of this first. As we usually start, the quote of the week, and since I am forever hopeful, then hope always tends to show up there. Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness, says, or rather said, Desmond Tutu. There is nothing to explain here. There is nothing to talk about here. This is so simple and straightforward, and it just clicks right in your head that if you're not able to see the light, you will not feel the hope. So in order to feel the light, in order to feel the hope, you definitely need to see the light, regardless of how bad things look at this point of time. You should keep your hopes up, because good things are always around the corner. Canadian Immigration Weekly Roundup, that's what we do, usually on Saturdays, and starting as normal, as usual, with the Provincial Nominee program. August 2021, and actually this is not only the weekly roundup, this also will make it a monthly, or whatever happened in the month, last month, in terms of PNPs. We had Manitoba, which issued, or rather had only one draw, but they issued 275 letters of advice to apply, also referred to as LAA. Saskatchewan had a great month. They issued a total of 4 invitation rounds. When we say 4 invitation rounds, we calculate OID and EE, the different streams that they have separately, so 2 each basically, and they issued a total of 948 invitations, which is pretty good. Then we had British Columbia, which issued invitations to 900 candidates, which is amazing. And then, of course, Ontario had a total of 5 draws, and they issued invitations to 875 candidates. Alberta was unbelievable. They actually issued a lot of draws. It's not 150. I think it's about 1,246. Let me correct that here. They issued. Oh, okay, there was a draw on. That's right. 450. Let's go with this. So they issued a total of 1,246 invitations in August, which is pretty good. Prince Edward Island also did continue to issue their draws, and they invited about 161 invitations. So that's a whole load of invitations being sent out by different provinces. For the last week, British Columbia invited 488 people. Again, but BC, for people who have been following these weekly roundups, by now you're aware that BC almost appears every week. And they tend to invite people within their different draws, mainly tech draw or the other skilled category draws, but you need a job offer from the employer in British Columbia, from the eligible employer. Alberta actually held not 2, but 3 draws, okay? And this 3 draws that they held was unbelievable. So they held one, I think it was earlier in the month. I don't remember the date. And they issued about 346 or 396 invitations there. And then obviously on the 23rd, they issued 450 invitations. And then again, the following week, 400 invitations. Now, why am I talking so much about Alberta? a lot of you actually depend on Alberta because of your scores, because maybe your scores are not crossing 400 plus. You haven't been able to sort of identify any other specific province, because we all know how provinces can be difficult. So a lot of you are pinning your hopes on Alberta in some way or the other. Now with Alberta, the problem that we all understand is that they never disclose who they have exactly invited or what was the criteria behind inviting any specific profiles. So let's say I just told you that they invited 1,246 people in the last month of August. With the last draw, which was on the 30th of August, they invited 400 people. But who exactly did they invite? If you see their website, it will say the minimum or the lowest score that they invited was 301. Now, if we all know what the profiles, or rather what the pool looks like, there are nearly 100,000 people over the score of 301. So who got invited and what was the criteria? So Alberta never ever discloses that. They never issue the exact criteria. However, we find out from different people who do get invited. So what happened on the 23rd of August when they issued 450 invitations, a lot of people who were invited were under the knock code 2131, which is, I think, your civil engineers. Then in this particular draw, on the 30th of August, they have invited knock codes 2132 and 2133. Okay. Now, I'm sure there would be few other knocks also, but I am not aware of them at this point of time, because I'm sharing this with you based on the information some of our clients have come back with, because they received the invitation, or some other people who have shared it on social media groups or Facebook groups. Now, the other factor that was interesting here is that usually, based on the trends historically, data-wise, Alberta would usually pick profiles either below 400, because that is where they were able to attract a lot of people, or if people had connection to the province, job offer, previous work experience, siblings in Alberta. So those were the people who would usually get invited. But this time they actually targeted 470 plus scores, CRS score range. Again, there is, as I said, they do not disclose or they do not publish the exact criteria. So it's very difficult to say what was the lowest CRS score of people that they invited in terms of 470 or plus, or what was the high range. So I don't have the data. Their website says 301, but that 301 could be for one odd person or two odd people or 3-4 people who had some connection to the province, who were also probably under the same knock who they issued. So there is no way to give a definitive data, but a lot of people above the range of 470 CRS with scores or with the knock codes of 2132 and 2133 did receive an invitation. And if you are one of them, well, congratulations. And my recommendation to you is that go ahead and accept that invitation, process your application. It will cost you $500 because Alberta PNP charges $500 now. It's an online, simple, straightforward process. No hiccups there. They don't even need to see your proof of funds. I mean, how easy can they make it for you? But if you're waiting for the FSW draws and you're thinking, okay, you know what, I don't want to go with this, I want to wait for the FSW draws, don't be in that two minds, because each day you will be anxious, you will be stressed. Okay, when is the next draw? When is the next draw? When is the next draw? After that, when the draws will start, and we will talk about that in a bit, then you'll be thinking, when the scores will come down, when will the scores come down, when the scores come down, my IELTS is going to expire, my age is sort of going to go up by a year, my birthday is coming, all those issues, right? So you may as well apply for Alberta, get your nomination, get your 600 points, and then sleep peacefully, because you know you will get your invitation. So that would be my recommendation, but obviously it's your decision how you want to take. But the idea would still be, why did suddenly Alberta change their strategy? I mean, they don't usually pick high CRS scores, but obviously they can understand that because the because the FSW draws have not happened, there are a lot of profiles, a lot of people in the high CRS score range, which may otherwise not have chosen Alberta. Quite possible, because people tend to go towards Ontario, towards British Columbia, Montreal in some cases, but Alberta is a bit number 3, 4, 5 on the list of people's first choice preferences to go to. So probably Alberta said this is the best opportunity to sort of pick some profiles, high ranking score profiles, and bring them to Alberta. So there you go. So that was probably the strategy, because they identified the FSW draws are not happening. Pick these profiles. They may not get an invitation anytime soon, and hence attract them to the province. Well played, Alberta. That was a good thing. But it also gives a lot of hope. It also sort of gives you an option. It gives you, instead of waiting, it gives you an option, and it gives you a definitive option to move forward. So definitely go for it if you are one of those guys who got this invitation. Moving on, then what else did we have? Oh, this is just express entry. Of course, that always sort of comes back. Now, Canada invited 635 candidates with a lowest score of 764. And that was the score for people who got invited recently, which when I'm saying recently, it was on the 1st of September, which was a Wednesday. Now, let's talk about it a bit, because this is always a very interesting discussion. What happens? So many of you have this doubt, this confusion. How can somebody with a score of 764 get an invitation, right? This obviously a lot of you think about that, because in order to get this invitation, you would have got nomination. The nomination, because it is linked to express entry, would have given you 600 points. So if you take away 600 from 764, that leaves you with 164. How can anybody have a score of 164 and be in express entry? That is a question that comes up quite a lot. Well, first of all, don't always think FSW, because FSW requires you to first have 67 eligibility points to be eligible for express entry, so you can create your profile and then get your CRS scores. Also think CEC, which is Canadian Experience Class. Also think FSTC, which is Federal Skilled Trade category. Okay. Now these are the other two categories, other two programs in the express entry, in addition to FSW. As a CEC applicant, you could be of the age of 43, 44, 45, have a degree, have a diploma, have IELTS, have 1 year of Canadian work experience, obviously, and you could have a very low score because your IELTS could be low, because you can have CLB 5, I think, for NOC B, and still be eligible under Canadian Experience Class. So you could be Federal Skilled Trade category. You could have a mix of CLB 4 and CLB 5 in your IELTS and still be eligible in express entry. And because you are eligible in express entry, and because you are in a specific province, you were in a position to apply for the provincial nominee program. For example, let's take New Brunswick, right? So that program is linked to express entry. For example, you take, what else have we got? Certain other Atlantic provinces where also you will be able to apply for the trade category, which is linked with the express entry for their provincial nominee program. You could still have a low score of 164 and still be eligible. Let's say you had a certificate of qualification as well, because you're Federal Skilled Trade category. So your score would have been 164 plus 50, which is 214. But when you get the nomination, because you got 600 points and you can only get 600 points under that category, your 50 points become less. So you would then become 164 and have 600 points. I hope that clarifies this particular question that a lot of you have as to how can somebody get this kind of an invitation. That is how you get 764 or 700 kind of a score and still get invited. That does not mean everybody had a score of 764. That only means that the lowest person who got the invitation had 764. So probably there were few people who were in that range, and everybody else who were probably in the range of 900s and thousands who got their invitation. So that was the PNP. Now, again, a lot of you already have a question about the CEC draw, and we will talk about that in detail when we get to the detailed discussion about express entry draws, etc. But yes, we were expecting a CEC draw. That has been the trend, as we have seen in the last 9 months now, that IRCC will conduct a PNP draw, then followed by a CEC draw. Surprisingly, they did not conduct a CEC draw. Usually it will happen the day after or a day later. So if this draw happened on a Wednesday, you would see a Thursday with a CEC draw or a Friday with a CEC draw. On some days, we have even seen it happening the following week on a Monday. So expect a draw probably Monday, maybe Tuesday, and that could always happen. So they're not bound by any fixed date that they will only do a draw on this date. Okay, it happens on Wednesdays. It has happened on several other days as well, but it's not a fixed sort of scheduled date. They can choose to do it on other day. Keep in mind, there are elections around the corner. IRCC is quite backlogged right now with so many different application types, so many different things happening. Issues in Afghanistan, issues with Hong Kong, PR to PR, additional new public policies for work permit extensions and new work permits being issued. There's a lot going on over there. So Either it's a Monday or a Tuesday, which we will see, or there is something else cooking, which we will talk about in just a bit. So that was about the express entry draw. Moving on, we also wanted to talk about the new immigration pilot for international graduates that is in New Brunswick. Now, New Brunswick has started a new immigration pilot program whereby the students who are studying in 4 private career colleges in the province, and that is Atlantic Business College, Eastern College, Mackenzie College, and Olton College, and who have studied basically in 19 specific targeted occupations, they will also be able to apply to the provincial nominee program. I think we came out of this section. It should have been here. So we should have been here first, and then we should have come to this one. Anyways, so that was inside Canada situation. And yeah, so this is a great news for people who are even choosing or who are even now considering where they will actually go and study. So for example, you are an international student, you are thinking, where should I go and study? What should I go and study? What will make a difference? What will match? These gives you a bit of a glimpse. These kind of programs tell you that if you were to go to New Brunswick, and if you were studying in any of these 4 colleges, studying these programs that are targeted towards the 19 occupation, you would have an opportunity to apply for a PNP program even while you are studying, right? So that gives you a great opportunity. If you were studying, for example, in another college in New Brunswick and completing your master's program, or you're studying a different kind of program in that college, you could also be eligible to apply for a different program there as well. So these are the options that different provinces offer to you. Always take a look and see what's going on there. Always take a look and see if you will be able to apply for a PNP even while you're studying or after you've completed your studies. That as a student, as an international student, gives you some sort of a glimpse, some sort of a pathway as to which way you should choose, if at all permanent residency is on your mind. And then there was also something else we wanted to talk to you about, but that does not come under the in Canada. So we will talk about that in a bit. And then the next one is, yes, holiday working visa holders. Now this applies to people who belong to certain country, who are citizens of certain country. They are eligible to apply under IEC, International Experience Class Canada, under which they can get working holiday visas. Now, if you are in Canada, then and your LOI is about to expire, or if you are not in Canada but outside Canada, your LOI was about to expire, then you will be able to extend your documents. So that's again a great news for those who are already worried. In other news, Quebec, as we know, also has a separate immigration program. They did hold their 3rd immigration draw for August, inviting a total of 585 candidates, which is great, but the score was quite high at 517. This is the 8th of this year, and Quebec has so far invited 2,145 people, which is pretty cool. Let me just open another site that I wanted to talk to you about. So just give me a moment till I bring you with there. And you can see it on the screen as I'm talking to you now. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. New Brunswick, this website is welcomenba.ca. So this is for people who are in the hospitality industry. Always keep an eye on this particular page. This will give you a good glimpse of what's going on over there. They usually have immigration information sessions, or they would have recruitment events. You should always keep an eye on that. The most recent or the latest one. So the earlier they had the one about nurses. If you are following our channel, which is one of the good reasons to follow our channel, you would have realized that there were nursing opportunities open in New Brunswick earlier. Now they have just announced yesterday about the virtual recruitment mission for hospitality sector. So if I was to open this up, and I have this, they are inviting interested candidates who are under NOC 631, 6311, 6321, 6322, as you can read. So restaurant managers, food services supervisors, chefs, cooks, etc. If you're from the hospitality background, hospitality industry, you have work experience, recent work experience, which is recent means within the last 5 years, you will be able to register for this event. If you register for this event, you will get, or rather, if you get invited, you will be able to attend this particular recruitment mission and probably land yourself a job, possibly, because they are saying that the employers are hiring. No, we do not know if actually the employment offers will be given out or not. But from there on, if you are employable, if your work experience, your background is something of a serious interest to them, then you could look forward to maybe receiving an invitation to apply for the nomination, which would again be a great start. I mean, especially in hospitality. Now look at these knocks, right? This is 6511, 6512, 6513, 6525. Now these are all knock level C. And then you have 6711 and 6731, which are knock level D. Now, usually, typically, these profiles have very little opportunities that come by in terms of applying for PR. Usually, obviously, they're not eligible in express entry. Now, because these positions, some of these NOCs actually from here onwards, these are not eligible in an express entry. It basically means you don't need an express entry profile to submit this registration. All you need is your passport, of course, a copy of your visa if you're in a different country, your language test results. If you have completed a language test, I would say you definitely provide it. ECA, if you have it. Optional is CV. Though it says it's optional, I would recommend you definitely provide your resume. Now, if you're able to do this, then you are in for some sort of hope that if they do choose to invite you, then you are looking forward to getting invited, and then invitation to apply for the nomination process is also a possibility, of course, depending on your profile. So there you go. That is something which you can look forward to, and that will definitely, if at all you get selected, give you a great chance to come to Canada. Now, what is the other news I have? Okay, excellent. That's another one I wanted to talk to you about. Canada has opened for tourists. Now, Canada has opened for tourists, and this is now confirmed. Now, earlier what was happening is Canada was not confirming. They had said that from 7th of September, they will start welcoming all non-essential travelers to Canada. And these non-essential travelers to Canada will be able to come to Canada if they are fully vaccinated. But it was a tentative thing. It was tentative. It was not confirmed. So now they said, okay, we will allow them to come if they are fully vaccinated. And because it was tentative, we were all thinking, well, it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. But now it's been confirmed. It's absolutely happening. It's already been announced. It's there on the IRCC website under their travel advisory, which was issued yesterday, that you will definitely be able to come to Canada as a tourist, or anybody else who is coming to Canada for non-discretionary travel. You will be able to come as long as you are fully vaccinated. Now, what does fully vaccinated mean? Fully vaccinated means that you should have taken two valid doses of one of the 4 eligible brand of vaccines, which is Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen, which is Johnson & Johnson, or AstraZeneca or Covishield. Now, these are the 4 brands. You should have taken at least one of these brands, 2 doses of that, and taken them at least 14 days before the departure of your flight. That is when you will be considered as fully vaccinated. And as a tourist, as a non-discretion, or rather as a person who is coming to Canada for discretionary travel, you will be able to come and travel. So that is, again, amazing news. Now, let's talk about these pertinent questions. And before I talk about these pertinent questions, and let's see, because something is very interesting. I can see in comments something very interesting. So let's see this one. Okay. Gursimran says, just got PPR. I am an outlander. Well, this is amazing. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, I would have liked to sort of jump and start dancing, but this is, congratulations, Gursimran. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. You're saying you're an outlander. You just got your PPR. Give me some more information, Gursimran. Please type some more information. This, I'm sure a lot of people would like to know what exactly happened. I mean, what was your CRS? What was your visa office? What kind of an application did you submit? How long have you been waiting for? What is your AOR? Put your timeline down there so everybody can see that, because that will definitely give hope. I've been talking about this for a very long time, and I've been saying 4th quarter is when I expect majority of the chunk of PPRs to come through. But this is a trickle that we've been talking about. This is something which is so amazing, and this is something which you definitely want to look forward to. So yeah, just drop down more information and let us know what exactly that's looking on. Meanwhile, let's get back to what we were talking, and there's something else we want to see. Oh, okay, okay, Alain says, IRCC knew that 7th September will be borders opening for non-essential travel. May I have your wild guess why they did not anticipate like in 2020? I have absolutely no clue what you're talking about anticipation like in 2020. I mean, yeah, absolutely no clue. What if you would sort of want to rephrase that, put it down? Probably we'll take a look at it again, but I absolutely don't understand what you mean. Why they did not anticipate like in 2020? I mean, was something happening in 2020? I mean, we know COVID was there, but there was no vaccinations, right? So what were you expecting? Anyways, let's get back to what we were talking about earlier and pertinent questions. Obviously, we have been talking about 7th September, visitors will be able to come to Canada. We are talking about, the borders opening up. We've already seen that Canada allowed the Americans to start coming to Canada, even for non-essential travel. For non-essential travel, they allowed them to come from the 9th of August. So 9th of August, when they did start, that was kind of like a trial run to see how they will be handling, how they will be checking for the vaccination status, etc. So 1 month of having done the trial, they are now they're looking at what can be done with the rest of the countries who will be coming to Canada. Now, pertinent questions, which so many of you are already obviously have put in the comment section, as well as it's in your mind. The first one is expired COPRs. What's happening with expired COPRs? Well, what's happening with expired COPRs is that recently in one of the advisories, or rather in one of the briefings that they gave to some media persons, they mentioned that they have already contacted all of those people whose COPRs were issued pre-18th March and they were expired. They had already contacted them. But then we realized and we found out through comments that a lot of such people have not been contacted. So that was not nice. IRCC, not good. You should have clarified and told that was not correct. But they are saying that they are now in the process of also contacting post 18th March expired COPR holders, and that they intend to complete this by the 31st of October. Now, that is the timeline that they are working on. So even if you are pre-18th March COPR holder, you did not get a message from IRCC, then there is a good possibility you will get it. So 31st October is a deadline that they are looking at. So they will try and clear as much as backlog that they have for these expired COPR holders. So that's the update I have for the expired COPR holders. What do we have next? So the next question we had was finalization of existing applications, which is PPR. Now that is something which has been on a lot of people's mind. But as I just said, that there was somebody here, Gursimran, who just said that he's just gotten PPR, which basically is pretty awesome, right? I have been saying that I expect this as a major chunk of these PPRs to be released by the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter basically means October onwards. Before that, if it happens, this is great. This will be the trickle that you will start seeing. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, all the thousands of applicants will not get their PPRs one particular day. One day they get up, everybody has it. It's not going to happen. It will start slowly. It will start slow and small, as you will start seeing. If Gursimran has got it, and I'm not sure what is his visa office because he hasn't yet talked about that. But if he's got it, then there basically should be some sort of movement in that particular visa office, which will start the chain. More and more people will start getting it. If he's got it, now usually PPRs are released in a batch, so there will be a section or there will be a chunk of applications which will be released on that particular day. That depends on several factors on that particular, for those applications, the AORs, the first in first out kind of things, or how much of the background check has already been completed, when it was completed, or when the application was absolutely considered as final, and then those go out in the batches. So if Gursimran has got it today, then I'm sure there are plenty other people also out there who would have received the PPR. And I'm sure we will start seeing this information of this trickle on our Facebook groups, on other social media platforms as well. So keep your eyes open for that, because that will give you an insight as to what was their AOR dates, what was their visa offices, what was their CRS scores, what is their background, nationality, what is their country of residence, what the PNPs, were their FSW, none of that has been mentioned here, so we don't really know. But yes, my expectation is fourth quarter, and there is a reason why I keep saying fourth quarter, because it has a cumulative effect for so many reasons. Earlier, we were talking about some documentation that was leaked, that was shared, which said that they were holding back on the PPRs because of the travel restrictions, because people were not able to travel, so there was no point of issuing the PPRs. No, that had a 90-day kind of upper cutoff limit, and then we were expecting that 90 days were extended. Now, those 90 days definitely should have been ended by now. Since all COPR holders were allowed to come, the restriction did not exist anymore. Therefore, but having said that, even if they were to go back to start issuing PPRs, they still need to do your admissibility checks. They still need to figure out if you're still admissible to Canada based on your health conditions, based on your financial conditions, based on your criminality and security checks, right? So all this under normal circumstances could easily take 2 to 3 months under normal process, right? Now, but they have to now compress this, do it very, very quickly because there is so much of backlog. But mind you, during this COVID, there were so many staff in IRCC offices who were not working because of the COVID protocols, because of the lockdowns, shutdowns in different visa offices across the world. They were working from home. We've already seen lots of reports. We've already seen lots of documents where it has been indicated that they were not properly trained to work from home. Their information systems were not set up so that they could work properly. They could sort of, be more productive as they would have normally been. They could not come back to the offices to comply with the requirements because a lot of this information is still confidential. They were not able to establish the networks whereby they could use the systems without any worry for leak of confidentiality processes. However, as and how things have become normal, the expectation is that the staff would have at some point of time gone back to the offices or taken turns. So there was definitely movement. In addition to that, and all I'm just trying to do is this, we've already spoken so many times, but I'm just giving you an understanding once again, so you understand that the reason why it is taking so much of time. And then obviously during the COVID, during this pandemic situation, IRCC did release so many new programs, so many different things that happened. There were things which really, really went out of hand in Hong Kong. So they had to issue new programs, new provisions to help those people in Hong Kong. We all are already aware about Afghanistan issue and things that are, things that Canada has done to extend whatever they could to the people who were in problem there. TR to PR, I'm sure a lot of you already know, 90,000 applications to be accepted in TR to PR, of which I think already we have completed 40 plus 30, 70,000, 40 plus 20 or 30,000 we've already completed. Some more to go. Then there was a French stream from the TR to PR, also thousands of applications. Then there was postgraduate work permit applications, people who were postgraduate work permits who were expired. Then they were given provisions to renew. There were other public policies where a lot of people who were out of status, their restored status was restored. There were agriculture farm workers who were in Canada. They were obviously given some pathway. They were construction workers. They were given some pathway. So there were a lot of things. I mean, I can go on and on and on. But there were a lot of things that Canada has been continuing to do. And for that, as much as we all like to blast IRCC and we say, IRCC, you do not do, IRCC doesn't care. What the hell is IRCC? Because we are looking at it only from a very, very small window concerning our application. We don't see the big picture of what all Canada is doing, what all IRCC is involved in. So IRCC gets a lot of flack for not doing what we think they're not doing, but they're doing a tremendous job of doing much more than what you and I are aware of under the given circumstances, under the difficult times. So while we all like to blast IRCC, I think they have still performed phenomenally well in lots of areas, given their tight resources. Having said that, PPRs, my expectation continues to be that fourth quarter is when I would see the chunk of applications coming through. If this information from Gursimran is correct, and if actually he has got PPR, and I'm sure if he's got it, several other people also would have got it. If we only get more information, we will be able to pinpoint which visa office has now started functioning. It is happening. It's coming through. If this comes through, so many of you others will also be able to see through. Just have a little bit more patience, have a bit more faith. It is around the corner. It is going to happen. I'm praying for you guys. It will definitely happen. I mean, all of you out there, think about it. all this time that you did not get it, you were able to, I mean, I know you were frustrated. I know a lot of you were very angry and upset, but hey, it's not that much of a time, right? At the end of the day, it was few months is what you have waited extra. Compare it to Australia, program shutdown. Compare it to New Zealand, program shutdown, not happening. Compare it to several other countries where nothing much is happening. Compare it to a few years back when just PR application to Canada would take 3 years, 4 years. Compare yourself to the people to get to understand what the hell is going on. I think you guys are still better off, all right? So while yes, there is no denying the fact that you guys will be very angry, frustrated, irritated, but it's around the corner. Just have a little bit more patience, have a little more faith, and you will see Canada soon. What else did we have here? Now, spousal sponsorship applications. Okay, now same thing with spousal sponsorship applications. Usually the processing time is about 1 year. Usually within 1 year, they should be able to do it. On the contrary, Canada actually employed additional staff, I think about 100 new staff, which were assigned only for spousal sponsorship applications because the backlogs were that much, and they were really getting out of hand. But I don't think that really helped because we are still, I mean, I have got some AORs for our clients for the applications that we submitted back in January and February. 6 months, 7 months, 8 months later is when I'm getting the AOR. So this is just AOR. From here on, then they will confirm whether the spouse is eligible and that spouse has passed the eligibility requirements for sponsoring. From there on, then your processing for the application will start. Now, what happens in a spousal application is once they receive your package, which is usually paper application, it has to be scanned. The mailroom accepts it. Then the mailroom opens it up in batches as and when they do. There was information from the Mississauga visa office where they said they haven't opened up mailroom packages for months together because of the COVID protocols, right? Now, when they would get the package, they would scan all these documents. This is one of the reasons why for spousal sponsorship applications, they tell you not to put not sort of them in an order, which makes it difficult for them to remove. So what happens once they get all these documents, they will scan all of these documents, upload it to the IRCC server, and then the application is assigned to different visa offices so that it makes the movement of the application easy. First, as I said, your AOR will be issued, which will first create that they have created your record in the GCMS system. It will go back to the visa officer, which will assess your eligibility as a sponsor. From there on, it will be assigned to the respective visa officer for the assessment of the relationship and then the admissibility checks of the applicant. It can get a bit, it's a draconian way of doing it. It's a very primitive way of handling an application. By now, I mean, we are already in the 21st century. We should be moving at the speed of light in terms of this kind of process. But then going with that, they are talking about investing $750 million in making this process better. They're already testing the beta stage of the spousal sponsorship application online. If some of you are aware that the spousal sponsorship applications are also moving online, the portal is ready. They are testing it. A lot of you are able to apply on it already. If you haven't, you can go and check it out if you're looking to. So there are some changes being made. The new portal is also ready. PNP applications, which were paper applications, those can also be filed through this portal at this point of time. We, authorized representatives, IRCC licensed immigration consultants, are also going to get a new portal to sort of submit applications. I think you're going to get it towards the 3rd week of this month. And that sort of, it shows that there is some change, there is some movement happening. They are trying to make some changes so that it becomes easier. But until such time, you're going to have patience. You're going to have it, keep it going on. Yes, but it is taking time. Spousal sponsorship applications are also at this point of time, anywhere between 1.5 years to 2 years is what it is looking like. Next one is spouse open work permits, and then it is along with the visit visas and super visas. So these two categories are almost the same. And the reason why they're almost the same is because they come under the TRVs, temporary residence visas. So what is happening with TRVs? The last we checked, there are more than 700,000 applications, TRV applications in backlog. There were nearly 350,000 PR applications in backlog. That is a lot of backlog. Not to forget that constantly express entry draws are happening. Constantly new applications are continuing to be submitted. So whether it's the TRV applications continue to get submitted, it's the permanent residency applications that continue to get submitted, express entry draws are happening. They were issuing 5,000 ITAs at some point of time. So you can imagine how many applications are still coming through. Not to forget the TR2 PRs as well. So there is a there's a mountain of backlogs that has been collected. Obviously, they have to sort of figure out a better way of managing that, and I'm sure it will take time. So don't expect things to happen overnight. For TRVs, spousal open work permits, super visas, visit visas, I think visit visas has the least priority in this process. Spousal open work permits and super visas have a higher priority, but they're still TRVs. Now, what happened was when Canada announced the TR to PR pathway, they moved, because at that point of time, TRVs were not being issued. They moved the staff who were handling the TRV applications to handle the TR to PR applications. Because where were they going to get the staff from? I mean, how in the world will they arrange so many staff overnight and train them and make them efficient and be productive about this? So they moved the TR to PR. Sorry, they moved the TRV staff, people who were handling the visit visas, the other TRV applications, and had them process TR to PR. We also know TR to PR is not moving very fast. People are still not getting AORs. People who applied within the first hour of the application stream opening, they have still not got their AORs. Yes, a lot of people have got their PPRs, but still it's moving extremely slowly. So when they moved these people, the backlog there, has gone up like exponentially. TR to PR is still moving slowly, and IRCC is having a difficult time trying to figure out what resources should be allocated where, because everything is a priority at this point of now. Everybody, there's family reunification, spousal sponsorship, family reunification, spouse open work permit, family reunifications, super visas. It's to be very honest, it's a mess. I don't think it's a mess anybody wants to be in. But having said that, TRV applications at this point of time is taking a long time. Spousal open work permit, super visas, though IRCC websites and processing time shows as only 70 days, I don't think anybody is getting it in 70 days at this point of time. It also will depend on where you are located, which country you're located, who is your visa office, where the application is being processed. I know one of my clients who was in Australia, their application is seeing a lot of movement, and within 2 to 3 months, we are seeing a lot of movement. We still haven't got the PPR. So, but there is a movement as in, their police clearances were requested for, their medicals were requested for, and I know there is movement. So I can see it coming through pretty quick, but it's not happening as we were expecting. So as much as you want the spouse open work permit, super visas to be processed fast, expect it to take at least 6 to 10 months minimum on the whole side of things. Visit visas, anywhere 8 to 12 months is a fair expectations. I know it's frustrating. I know it's not what you expect. I know it's not what you want, but that is what it's taking. Student visas is a different ballgame altogether. There is a big discussion going on about artificial intelligence being used in processing of visit visa applications as well as student visa applications. There is a whole load of discussion going on as to the fairness, unfairness part of it. I know in future, as we progress, we will be seeing some very serious amount of action being taken on behalf of the public. Some lawyers are already planning some sort of action to be taken for student visa applications where they got the AIP approval in principle, they started studying, and then later on their application was refused, which was a mess. It's a total mess because people have paid the fees, people have spent a lot of time, money, effort behind it, only to get a refusal after quite a few months. So the time wasted, money wasted, as I said, it's a mess. There is a talk about artificial intelligence being used in assessing the applications, which is also creating a feeling of bias because the factor under which the applications were being refused and no specific reason being given or justification being given on the refusal, that is creating a bit of an issue as well. Because at the end of the day, it is not only your $100 that you have lost for the application being refused. It's a lot of other things. It's the time, it's the effort, which is also going. If you're using a consultant, then the fee for the consultant is also lost. And I think more importantly, it's the time and the opportunity cost which is lost, which is a big concern. But you will see or you'll hear more about this as we get more details and information about this in future, and we will talk about that. Now, final pertinent question that we had, where did we go? What the hell is going on with the federal skilled worker draws? And I know so many out there are absolutely wondering what is, I mean, isn't it enough that 23rd of December was the last federal skilled worker draw? That's gone. That's finished, right? 468 was the score. So many of you were waiting, expecting 467, also an IT on 468. That is basically now, poof, it's gone into the thin air. Now, what is my opinion? Again, it's only an opinion. I cannot give you any confirmed this thing. The 7th of September is a very, very important milestone. And the reason why it is an important milestone, because this is where Canada is declaring that they feel confident in letting the people from outside Canada come into Canada, even if it is for discretionary travel. It's a big milestone, psychologically as well as data related as well. If you see the advisory on the Canadian immigration website, the travel advisory for this particular information, it tells you that they are going with a lot of data and scientific facts to establish this, that yes, it's fine if you are fully vaccinated. So being fully vaccinated does not mean you cannot spread the virus. It just means that you are vaccinated for against the critical conditions that might happen if you get infected and the consequences of that. So the vaccination is against those conditions. It is not against you being a carrier. You could still be a carrier. You could still be carrying the virus, and therefore you have to do the RT-PCR tests. However, how is all of this connected to FSW draws? Now, again, we'll have to sort of draw some relation to the past in terms of the last draws that have happened last year with federal skilled workers, 2020. When they stopped federal skilled worker draws and then they started it again. There was this period of July, then that happened again in September, October, when they were a bit confident that yes, things are getting better. So it had always to do with their psychological thing of yes, things are feeling better, things are looking better. Now we can resume federal skilled worker draws, or things are getting bad. Let's stop the federal skilled worker draws. Let's concentrate on people in Canada. Now that you've opened the doors, you first opened the doors to the Americans. Now you open the doors to the rest of the world, which basically are declaring that, yes, we are open. You're welcome to come to Canada, even as long as you're fully quarantined. Oh, sorry, as long as you're fully vaccinated, you can come to Canada. For me, that basically means that these guys should be now ready. It's about time. How long are you going to wait? I personally feel, and I've been saying third quarter. I've broken this record and I've played this broken record plenty of times. Third quarter. We are at the end of the third quarter, and I'm hoping and praying that somebody up there listen and keep my face. I don't want to lose my face by having said third quarter, but that's not happening. But again, my personal opinion, I would not be surprised, to be very honest, if you see the next draw, which will happen to be a federal skilled worker draw or all program draw. I would not be surprised at all. One, because it's the third quarter, and that's what we've been hoping, or rather, at least I have been hoping for. And number two, because it makes sense. It's obvious. It's only logical. And if still they do not follow this, then I really do not know what exactly they're looking to do. Keep in mind, elections are around the corner. Come 20th of September, Canada goes for fresh elections. The new government could be anybody. We may have a new prime minister, we may have a new immigration minister, we may have a new department, or not IRCC department, because IRCC still will continue to operate based on its policies and structures, but we will have a new government, and they could have a totally new direction in terms of immigration. On that note, join me tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, we are going to do another live where I'm going to talk only about the elections and the political aspect of immigration. Okay, we're going to break down the three main parties: the NDP, the Conservative Party, and the Liberal Party, and each of their agendas in terms of only immigration. And we're going to just discuss what makes sense for who is saying what is political, what are the Liberals saying, what are the Conservatives saying, what is the NDP saying, and who has a better case to make in terms of immigration. So join me tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning, tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. We'll do another live to talk about that. But for today's video about the federal skilled worker draws, my opinion is that we should have definitely a federal skilled worker draw, rather all program draw within this month itself. I would be quite happy to see it in the next draw itself. Mind you, they did not do a CEC draw yet. Okay, they did a PNP draw, and then, though under normal circumstances they would have done a CEC draw the following day, which should have been Thursday. It did not happen on Friday. Yes, in the past I have seen a draw happening after that on a Monday as well. So let's wait till Monday and see if they do a CEC draw. If they don't do a CEC draw at all, You never know. Something is cooking up. Something is happening. Something is boiling somewhere. And I smell something nice coming out of it. I feel optimistic. I feel positive. I absolutely feel something good is coming out of this. However, there is always a caveat. There is always a however. There is always a but. When the draws do happen, okay? And let's take that for a bit. Okay. And it's on your screen, right? So when the draws do happen, and the last one was on the 1st September, draw number 203, as we said, 635 invitations were issued. Now, look at the profiles. Look at the pool breakdown. Okay, let's get this a bit bigger here. Okay, this is what we are looking at. Okay, this is the pool breakdown on the 30th of August. The 451 to 500 is at 37,000, which is big, which is really big. 601 to 1200 are the people who have the nomination, so they obviously don't really care about anything. They don't really have to worry about anything. That's the reason why I said if you have the Alberta notification of interest, go ahead and grab it. These people, 481 to 490, are already at 4,218. That's a big number. There is also 491 to 500, which is at 1,500. There is another big group sitting here, 501 to 2,580, 501 to 600 at 2,584. So if you calculate 2,584, 1,500, that's your 4,000 profiles here. So above 481 as of today, if you calculate, there are more than 8,000 profiles. That's a huge number. 8,000 profiles sitting at 481. Okay, we are not even going to go here for this discussion, which is still 11,500. What does that tell you? You have 8,000 profiles, active profiles, sitting at the score of 481 plus. Okay, if they continue with their draws, and first, I mean, obviously the first hurdle, the first challenge is that they start the goddamn draws. Let's get it over with. Let's get the draws. Okay, so at least some relief. Then we will have something else to complain about, something else to rant about, something else to crib about. So that would be the drop in the score. But anyways, let's get to the first hurdle first. Let's hope we see the draw soon. The scores are high, 481. The first draw doesn't even look it's going to be in the 481 territory. It's going to be probably higher than 481 because they have been issuing only 3,000 ITAs. Obviously, now we are coming closer to the end of the year. Obviously, there is a quota for the year. The quota of the year is not 108,000 ITAs. I do not know for what some reason. Some people keep picking up the immigration targets and saying this is the target for ITAs. It is not. 108,000 is not the target for ITAs. We're already going much more than that. Okay. So for the remaining of the year, we are in the month of September. If we go for till the end of the year, you have roughly 7 to 8 draws, probably 9, depending on how many ITAs they will issue. With these 7 to 8 draws that are coming up, if they issue 3,000 ITAs in each draw, keep in mind that people continue to improve their scores, number one. People continue to create new profiles, number two. People in Canada who are under the Canadian Experience class, who are completing their education, they will keep updating or upgrading their profiles and adding into the pool. People who are completing the Canadian work experience, who have been in Canada for all this while, they will continue to keep adding into the pool. So it's not like once these 8,000 people above the score of 481 are cleared, that basically means all of it is cleared. No, that doesn't mean at all. That only means that people will continue to join in. And as and when the federal skilled worker draws or all program draws are resumed or start again, you will see more and more people coming in. Okay, because psychologically, people who have been holding back and thinking, okay, draws are not happening, what's the point of going in? Our profiles will expire, etc., etc. They will all jump in. As it is, you can't get an IELTS date anywhere within close to 2 to 3 to 4 weeks sometimes. So all that will add. So what does that mean? Above 481, you have 8,000 profiles. Above 471 to 480, you have 11,415. Collectively, this is already 19,000 profiles above 471. That tells you if your score is less than 471, my friend, anybody who's listening to me, my recommendation at this point of time, start looking for alternatives. Don't think about express entry, don't stress about express entry, start looking for alternatives. If it's PNP, go for it. If it's student visa, go for it. If you're thinking about French, get on with it. Why are you even waiting? Even at the low 470s, you guys are going to wait. I mean, I do not know when that will happen, because a large part of that depends on when IRCC will continue to start the draws, number one, and how many invitations per draw are they issuing. If they issue only 3,000 invitations, I know simple calculation. I mean, 6 draws is 18,000 profiles. How many people will they clear? Okay, considering and keeping in mind that each week, or rather each day, more and more people join. So even, for example, so many profiles have been created out of the pool this year. Still, the pool numbers, if you see, let's go back here. The pool numbers are going up and up and up. It's 172,000 now. Okay, 172,000 is the pool number today. In spite of the fact that each week 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 ITAs have been issued, you're still looking at 172,000. Where are the people coming from? Okay, it's not only you who's interested. There are hundreds and thousands of other people who are also interested. So you're always competing with somebody else for that coveted ITA. My recommendation, my personal opinion, if you're waiting, you're in the 470s, don't think it's a home run. Okay, don't think it's victory yet. Don't think you've achieved 471 so you can go back to sleep. No, you will need to make sure that you stay on the high side of 470s, number one. If you have any chance to improve your scores, please go ahead and do so. If you have an option of studying French, now we have spoken about French plenty of times before. I will repeat it again for your benefit. French, we all know, if it's a new language you're taking, any language, and of course French is quite difficult as well. It's quite difficult to start a new language and learn a new language and go on with it. It's not easy. And if you are looking to score well in French, it will take a lot of time. It will take a lot of effort. So if you concentrate only in 2 factors on the French, your speaking and listening, I have been told that they are relatively easier than reading and writing, where a lot of grammatical things come into play. You need to understand the grammar, the nuances of grammar, the rules of the literature, everything. But speaking and listening, your listening and your speaking, they are comparatively easier. Most number of people who do put in an effort, 2 to 3 hours a day, can score in 3 months, 2 to 3 months, 4 months max. By scoring in French in these 2 factors, you can still add 6 points, 3 in each, 6 points to your score. Trust me, sometimes that 6 points is going to make or break your opportunity for your invitation. Also, going forward, if you receive an ITA, please do not be stupid and decline it, because we don't know when the next express entry draw will happen, how many invitations will be issued, whether it will be all program or CEC only. Okay, COVID has not gone away. We are learning to live with COVID. India is already talking about another wave coming in. Canada has already made the announcement that we are going to get a 4th wave, and it is going to happen in the fall. It is going to happen. It's around the corner. 4th wave is going to come. We already know these things are there. So if you get an invitation, do not decline it. Figure out a way to make it work for you. So don't be in a rush. Don't listen to your friends who have no clue. Don't listen to the YouTubers. Okay, this is YouTube, I know. But don't listen to these social media groups where they tell you, yeah, do it. Because it doesn't matter to anybody. Nobody cares. It's your application. It's your file. It's your future. Be smart. Be aware. Understand what you're doing. And only then take that decision. So, wow. I talk too much, right? Yeah, I know. Give me a moment. I don't have anything else to add. I mean, seems like I was venting out for a bit, but that's pretty much it. Just to go through this score distribution, August 30. If we have another CEC draw, great. If we don't have a CEC draw, well, it's better. And we can then look forward to some other things in future as they happen. And was this it? Yeah, well, that's just about it from my side for this particular episode that we had in relation to the weekly roundup. And yeah, follow us for more weekly news, updates, and more social media. These are the social media platforms. I'm even tired to tell you which ones. If you're not following us, then I do not know what you're doing. And that's just about it for the weekly roundup. So that was the weekly roundup. Took me a lot of time to clear that. Let me just close these windows. Yes, we will take obviously questions, no doubt about it. And there is one particular question who I wanted to take for a long time because that individual complained in my last session. So we'll start with him. Omzi. Okay, let me get this screen a bit bigger so I can see you properly. Omji says my AOR is October 19th. IELTS got expired after 2 months of AOR. Should I go for IELTS again? As per GCMS recommendation, eligibility passed, security not started, it's ready to finalize. Is it okay? Yes, it's absolutely fine, Omzi. You don't need to redo your IELTS at all. Under very rare circumstances have I seen IRCC asking for IELTS to be repeated. Okay, you don't have to do your IELTS again. Your IELTS were valid at the time you submitted your application. October 19, it has been a long wait. You've been waiting for 2 years, so kudos to your patience. Well done. I am absolutely sure it's around the corner. You already can see in your GCMS, it's ready to finalize. So I'm absolutely sure it's absolutely fine. I think it's only your security checks. Once those are completed and once they are back to issuing the PPRs, you should also be able to get yours. All the best, my friend. Okay, now other questions is how we go ahead. I haven't seen Gursimran. Gursimran, if you're still listening, I'm still waiting for your additional information. Now, for people who have joined us late, Gursimran says he has got his PPR just now. He's an Outlander, which is great. I've been looking to see if he commented again. I haven't seen it. And okay, when will the next CEC draw be? Well, it will either be Monday or Tuesday, or for all you know, that would be end of CEC draw, at least for the time being, until we see next time. Please speak about student visa processing timings. Well, student visa processing timings, if it is SDS, it is at this point of time about 40-45 days. If it is non-SDS, it's about 3 months. They are using a new artificial intelligence system to do a lot of assessment, which, to be very honest, seems very biased, but I don't have a lot of details to talk about it. But they are being processed. There were a lot of applications. Now, will PPR pace for study permit from non-SDS countries will increase? As of now, I don't see any reason why PPR pace will increase as such. There was no connection about the student visas to anything at this point of time. Student visas were being delayed because a lot of people were diverted, but they are now back as far as student visas are concerned. And from what I understand, a lot of applications are being processed, they are being issued. But this is what is going to happen. Artificial intelligence, which is now coming in pretty quickly. If you follow Twitter, there is Heron Law, which has been talking about the Chinook system a lot, and that talks about how they have a new Excel-based form system to identify different factors based on which, if those are triggered in your application, there is a high possibility your application will be refused. Okay, so artificial intelligence is already being used. They're being used to identify a lot of factors. And one factor that is also being utilized in identifying if you are using agents, and specifically those agents who are illegal. Now, what does that mean? Now, for example, in India, for example, in Middle East, for example, in a lot of countries, there are these agents, there are these education consultants who can definitely help you get admission to colleges, but they are illegal. They are not authorized to submit your application for study visa, but they do it anyways. They will make your email account and they will submit your application, and then they will come onto the YouTube and talk about, oh, I got so many PPRs, I got this, I got, as if they did anything spectacular. Now, what is happening is the system is now capturing the IP addresses. So these smartasses will say, okay, we are going to use VPN. But if it only was that easy, right? So what's the point of artificial intelligence if you cannot block IP addresses? They're also capturing MAC IDs. They're also capturing commonalities in an application, the way the application is being merged, the way the application is being formatted, the way they're using cover letters, the way using SOPs. People who are using tablet SOPs. Now, when I'm saying tablet SOPs, I mean, for example, you're using if it's an agent, if that agent is going to file 50 applications, trust me, he is not going to create a new SOP for every single of those applicants. He is going to use a format where he is going to replace the name with your name. He's going to replace the college with your college. He's going to replace the course with your course, make a few changes and send it out. He is not interested in creating a new SOP for you based on your background and your conditions. Artificial intelligence is identifying all these similarities, commonalities, and based on this, it is triggering alert to the visa officers, who are then going ahead and refusing applications once they've identified that this is possibly an use of an illegal representative. They are also identifying factors as to where you have studied, what background you have, what work experience you have, because a lot of these consultants are creating fake documents. So, for example, you don't have work experience. Your friend doesn't have work experience. Your another colleague doesn't have work experience. All three of you go together. Sometimes they're using the same company's name to give all three of you fake documents for work experiences. You will get caught. Not only will your application be in jeopardy, but you will also have misrepresentation ban, 5 years ban. And a lot of these applications are already being caught. They're already being captured. They're already coming into problems. And as and how the system gets more and more and more advanced and developed, you will see more and more issues coming up. So while talking about the processing timing, yes, they have been taking long, but as of now, they are progressing faster. They are processing applications faster. In the recent time, you have seen bunch of applications being refused. Okay, and a lot of people were confused as to why did their study permit application get refused. One of the reasons was because of the system that they've started using. The application background, which triggers alerts, regardless of what it was, they have been issuing bunch of applications. They're refusing them based on those alerts. So if yours is one of those applications, order your GCMS notes, address those concerns, ask for reconsideration to the visa officer after pointing out how those concerns were already addressed in your original application. And if not, then reapply. Okay. But yes, as of right now, it is taking a bit of time to process the applications. SDS is taking about 40-45 days, probably 50 days, but non-SDS is on the range of about 3 months, 3.5 months at this point of time. Okay, Ash says, does PG diploma after MBA marketing makes sense? Some consider masters, some says consider masters, PG will get rejected, some say vice versa, don't want implied rejection considering PG marketing research as of now. Well, okay, think about it, forget about what anybody else is saying. You have done MBA, use your own brains, think logically. If you have already done MBA, now you will do PG in marketing. Does it make sense? I mean, think about it. You've already done a higher degree. Now you want to do a lower degree in the same subject. Doesn't make sense. However, if you want to do a postgraduate diploma in a specialized section, even related to business administration, but something which was not covered in your curriculum already, then you can make a case out of it. All right. But there is nothing wrong in doing a postgraduate diploma, not post-secondary for sure. If you'll do a post-secondary diploma, this is heading for a refusal, no doubt about it. But if you're going to do a postgraduate diploma, specializing in a field which is probably related to what you've done, but not the same thing, then you can make a case out of that. Okay, they release a lot of PPR in anticipation. Why not this time? Again, not very clear. They don't have to release PPRs in anticipation. They will release PPRs based on their policies and strategies. If you are referring to your earlier, I'm sure this is in relation to your earlier comment, in 2020 also, they did not release PPRs in anticipation. And even if they did, at that point of time, they got caught because then there were further lockdowns, there were further shutdowns. And this time they want to make sure all the restrictions are eased, everything is good to go, and only then they will go ahead with it. Siddhi says, I think FSW draws will resume this month, keeping fingers crossed. Well, we need a lot of positive energy. We need a lot of positive vibes. We need a lot of prayers to go up there for this to happen. So yeah, keep hoping, keep praying, and I'm sure something good will happen. Any hope for quick result recently submitted for PR application? I'm laughing because I do not know what quick result means anymore. And why would you hope for quick result? Why? I mean, there are people who have been waiting for 2 years in the process. If you are a CEC, and that is what I would assume you are, could be because you have recently submitted, then yes, some CEC applications have been receiving it within 2 months. Some have been receiving it even earlier. But A lot depends. Where is your application assigned? Which visa office is your application assigned? What are their backlogs? What are their COVID protocols? What is the staffing strength? How many staff are currently working? How many are not working? What are the leave numbers? A lot of this will make a decision as to how fast your application is being processed. Any tentative guess on NDVO application finalization? No, I don't have any tentative guess because I don't have any data to refer to. When will the next FSW draw happen? I think we have already taken care of that question in detail. Okay, one of my inland friends' spousal sponsorship paper application got approved in about 10 to 11 months timeline. That is awesome. Congratulations to them. Whatever worked for them, I hope it works for everybody else as well. What happens to co-vaccine vaccinated students? Okay, good question, because this is something which a lot of people are confused about. If you are not fully vaccinated, now what does fully vaccinated means? You have taken 2 doses of approved vaccine at least 14 days before your departure. If you are not fully vaccinated, for example, Covaxin or Sinopharm, or there are some other names as well, I don't know. But if you have taken any of these vaccines and you are exempt from travel means you are a student, you are a worker who has a valid visa to come to Canada. You can travel. There is nothing which stops you from traveling. Because you are not considered as fully vaccinated, you will have to comply with the quarantine requirements on your arrival, which at this point of time is 14 days at your place of residence. You could also be asked to do 1 or 2 on arrival RT-PCR tests or COVID tests, and an 8th day COVID test that will be additional if at all they ask you to do it, but there is no cost involved in it. You will have to quarantine, and that's absolutely it. Pranas Sunni, thank you for the super chat. December 2019, my medicals expired. Should I wait for re-medical notification, or can I opt for upfront medical proactively? Also, may I obtain a recent PCC? You don't need to obtain a PCC unless IRCC asks you for it. You also don't need to do your medicals again unless IRCC asks you for it. But a lot of people are doing it proactively because they think it will help their application move faster. You could do it. I mean, absolutely, there is nothing which stops you. If you got your AOR in 2019, it basically means your medicals expired in 2020. And from there on, we are in 2021. So basically, it's been, even if they gave you 1 year extension on your medicals, it would still be very fast approaching expiry. So yeah, there is nothing wrong in doing your medicals. If you do it upfront, make sure you upload the medical information sheet using the web form. Royal Saab says, TR to PR with outland spouse on August 26. How much time do I have to wait for PR confirmation? I think pretty long, because people from May still haven't received their AORs. Okay, Ash says, we did this. Why am I getting the same questions again? Okay, let's see this. CRS is 461, NOC 4031. Should I apply for Alberta PNP? What are the possibilities? I can't tell you the possibilities because Alberta does not announce their NOC codes. You don't need to do anything different to apply for Alberta PNP. You just need to have an active express entry profile. If your NOC code, if your primary NOC is of interest to Alberta, and if there is anything that they see of interest, then there is a possibility they might invite you. Okay. Vikas Raj, thank you for super chat. My score is 472. I'm 28 years old. Master's degrees. Are there any hopes for all program draw in the year and any other province that to look? Well, I did talk in detail at length for a very long time about the all program draws. Probably you can watch the video not from the beginning, but a bit forward. Just advance it a bit. 472 at this point of time is looking a bit challenging, and by that I mean that it may take some time for 472 to hit, considering how many draws, how many ITAs are being issued in each draw. So how many invitations they issue for each draw, that might define when 472. But to be very honest, at this point of time, it's looking a bit challenging, considering there are nearly 19,000 profiles in the pool with a score of 471 and above. If you can improve your scores, please do it. Add French if you have to. If there are other PNP options you can consider, most definitely go for it. Which subject best for banking secret? Well, I don't have my wand to sort of figure out which witch or wizard can do that for you, and which banking secrets. If I knew the banking secrets, You think I would be doing this YouTube on a Saturday morning? Really? I mean, wouldn't I be sitting on on my luxury yacht in some faraway Bahamas islands, sipping martinis? I mean, if I knew the banking secrets, man, I would be on top of the world. Thank you for the super chat. 412 CRS score with 0124. Okay, is there any hope or should I consider study route? 412 express entry, not happening. And I know I should not say not happening because strange things happen. For example, 75 CRS happened for CEC. Who knew, right? But to be very honest, practically, historically, data-wise, logically, 412 has no chance in express entry. With 0124, if Alberta picks that knock, well, that is something totally different. But since Alberta does not announce their selection criteria, they do not announce which NOCs they are interested in, I wouldn't sort of pin my hope and wait for them to pick up. If you have the option of studying in Canada and taking that route, I think you should. You could also look for employment opportunities, if at all there are any, that sometimes may also work. But if student route which is viable for you, if it is viable for you, then most definitely go for it. Please address the speculation which is being persistently discussed on FB pages that clearing of FSW backlogs and resumption of draws is somehow linked to upcoming elections in Canada. Why will it have anything to do with Canadian elections? I mean, some people who bring up these speculations, ask them where does that speculation originate? I mean, what is the logic of by holding back on the draws? What exactly are they going to achieve? I mean, think about it. They will hold back on FSW draws. Oh, we do not want people from outside to apply now because they will get an ITA now. They will apply after 2 months. The process will take 6, 8, 10, 12 months. Then they will come to Canada probably end of 2022. Hey, elections are now. Let me stop it. I mean, think about it. I don't even know what to answer to this particular speculation. I don't even know what to address. But it is stupid, to say the least, that elections have anything to do with holding back the FSW draws or creating the backlogs. I mean, think about it. By not processing the applications in New Delhi visa office, Warsaw visa office, London visa office, Sydney visa office, elections? I mean, so you're saying the next government which comes, let's say if it is liberal, let's say the liberals come back. So because they have now won the elections, now they are motivated to process the backlogs? Or let's say the NDP, which is unlikely, but let's say NDP comes into play. Because now they're in power, they will be the ones who will clear the backlogs, and they are motivated because all this while, because of elections, they were being held back. Think, logical. You should not even pay attention to this kind of rubbish speculations because there is no logic and sense behind it. These speculations are just meant to incite attention, because whoever creates them, they're attention seeking because it makes them feel relevant, because some people can ask them something, or it just meant to create unrest, panic, unnecessarily nervousness, stress, because whoever is feeling it themselves, they want others to feel it as well. I guess that's the best way I can do this. Viral says, do you think that spouse sponsorship application made through online mode is going to be processed faster than the application made through paper application mode? What's the processing time as of now? Well, if you apply online, one thing that it does is it takes away the scanning process that needs to be completed by the mail room. It also takes away the waiting time for the mail room to open the packages, scan the documents, create the GCMS record kind of a thing. But I mean, as of right now, because it's in a testing phase, so the portal for spousal applications, they've already mentioned it's being tested. I do not know I don't use it at this point of time. I will not suggest any of my clients to use it at this point of time because I don't want to get involved in any glitch that would directly result in any kind of delay, or for all application being refused or rejected at that point of time. So I would still continue with paper for the time being until it has been confirmed this is good to go. But in the long run, will it help? Yes, of course it is going to help, because it is taking away a big chunk of the processing time, the waiting in the mail room, the creating of the whole application in the system, and then uploading it, then creating the GCMS code. It takes all of that away. Once you have created the record, somebody just needs to check if everything is complete, the application is complete, good. Send it to the spousal sponsorship. Send it to the sponsor eligibility, good, and off you go. So your AOR you should be able to get your AOR faster than the paper application. At least that is the understanding, that is the background, that is the logic, and I'm sure that is the way we are going to move forward to. प्रदीप राठी, माय फेवरेट हिंदी राइटर. कमल जी, स्टूडेंट वीजा या पीएनपी से पहले क्या बेहतर होगा? क्या पीएनपी लगाकर 6-7 महीने के बाद स्टूडेंट वीजा लगा सकते हैं? आप सच में ज्ञान के कुबेर हैं. प्रणाम और नमन है आपको और आपकी इस तरह की बातों का. ज्ञान के कुबेर तो हम नहीं हैं, छोटा मोटा जो हम पढ़ लिख लेते हैं वो आपसे बांट लेते हैं. बट देखिए, आप पीएनपी में पहले अप्लाई करें या स्टूडेंट वीजा में अप्लाई करें, पीएनपी में अप्लाई करने से स्टूडेंट वीजा में कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. ठीक है, अगर आपको पीएनपी मिल ही रहा है, आपका पीएनपी में इन्विटेशन आ ही गया है, तो आप स्टूडेंट वीजा पे क्यों टाइम और पैसा जाहिर करेंगे? पीएनपी हो गया, चलिए काम करें, नॉमिनेशन अपना निकलवाइए और उसके साथ में अपना पीआर अप्लाई करिए. तो पीएनपी अगर अप्लाई हो जाए तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. और पीएनपी में अप्लाई करने का मतलब क्या? आपको इन्विटेशन मिला है. इन्विटेशन मिला है तो दैट इज हाफ द बैटल वन. आपने आधा युद्ध जीत लिया. ठीक है, इन्विटेशन नहीं मिला है, आपने सिर्फ एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट क्रिएट किया है, तो भाई आप उससे तो कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता स्टूडेंट वीजा पे. नो रिलेशन, नो कनेक्शन. आईआरसीसी इज नॉट गोइंग टू चेक कि आपने कौन कौन से पीएनपी की वेबसाइट पे जाके क्या क्या किया है. नॉट इंटरेस्टेड. तो कोई इश्यू नहीं है, आप ये पहले करें या वो पहले करें, दोनों बेहतर है. Kindly give assessment on federal skill trade draw CRS. What would CRS be if draw happens? Any anticipations? To be very honest, no, I don't have any anticipation because there is no way to see how many people are there in the pool under the federal skill trades category. The only thing was that because they cleared out a lot of people when they did a 75 CRS draw, when they did these other CEC draws, a large portion of the federal skill trade category people are already in Canada because they already have come here in Canada on a work permit application because they were able to secure a job offer. They already have a COQ. Because they have a COQ, again, they were able to secure a job offer. They were able to come to Canada. So a large portion of the federal skill trade category of people are the ones who you see they're getting PNPs at the score of 764, 760, those kind of scores. Possibly there are quite a lot of them who are getting that, number one. Number two, because of the CRS going pretty low, with a lot of these CEC applications, a lot of them have also been cleared out. So because we do not know how many outlanders, people who are waiting outside, what is their score and how many of them are there in the pool, it's very difficult to give any kind of estimate to say what it will come out at. Okay, last question before I run off because I have an appointment in 2 minutes. Manish Kotwani, PR applications, medical about to expire. Should we go for one more round of medicals or wait for IRCC direction? Well, it all depends when you submitted your application, when did you complete your medicals, because in a lot of cases, IRCC is automatically giving an extension on the medicals, 6 months or 1 year. Now, depending on what you have got, that would apply. But there are a lot of people who feel they don't want to get that, or rather they don't want to wait. They will go ahead and do it anyways because that will give them or save them some time. For example, IRCC will now ask you, okay, give us the medicals. You will book a medicals, you will go and finish your medicals, you will upload that to IRCC. It's a process. It takes time. IRCC will then acknowledge you have received it. Then they will go and check your medicals again, update it to your account, and then process it from there on. Versus you simply doing it, uploading it, sending it. They already have it. They already checked it. Instead of asking you, they've already checked it, updated it, moved on. A lot of people feel differently. Obviously, there is a cost involved. If you're a family of 2, 3, 4, it could become a lot of money. You may as well get the automatic extension. Waiting for another 2, 3, 4 weeks doesn't make a difference. So it's an individual thing. Take a judgment call and see what matters to you and go for it accordingly. Thank you so much for that discussion there, guys. Right. If you are not following me on Instagram, then right now get to Instagram, click on that, follow us there, and there will be a lot of updates which you will get automatically because we tend to update on Instagram faster than elsewhere. What else have we got? If you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you even waiting for? Here, no, here. That is where the button is. Hit that subscribe button. Next to it is the like button. If you thought this video was of any value, like it, share it, do whatever you need to do with it. And if you still need to discuss your application, your background, your questions, your queries one-on-one so that we can understand what exactly it is that needs to be done here, feel free to book an appointment. That's the link. And yeah, by all means, we can chat and understand what exactly the situation and what needs to be done there. Okay. Thank you very much for joining in today. I appreciate your having spent so much of time with me today. I hope to see you again next time. Until such time, take care, be safe, and see you in Canada.